In this video, I'll look at just fine-tuning some lighting and rendering before I get my cameras in and start animating. I've got a shot here of the render as it is currently. I've got good light from my street lights in a pale yellow, a nice bright bus stop, and accent lights on the buildings. I'm going to fine-tune the exposure just a little bit and see if the lights need a little extra work. I'll press 8 and pull up the Environment and Effects dialog. Alternately, you can get to this by choosing Rendering Environment, and it's available on a quad menu as well. What I'm going to do here is close up the camera a little bit. I'll take the shutter speed up to 1/12 of a second, so it's open half the time previously. I'll also close up the aperture, trying a 2.8 so the opening into the lens is a little smaller. What this will give me, and I'll do a region render for comparison, is actually a darker render. We can see here in my region render, everything is darker, and that's as it should be. What this lets me do, by letting less light in, is increase the intensity of individual lights while keeping a lot of the scene closer to dark. What we want to do sometimes is use that slightly faster exposure and smaller aperture then to allow us to range our lights higher. Now what I can do is start to take, let's say, my street lights and really boost up their intensity. I'll pick a street light, making sure I hit escape to get out of the region. Remember that they're instants, so picking one means all of them change. They've all got their ray trace shadows, and I like how the spread is working. What I will do is bring up that hotspot, maybe to 60, so I get a little wider circle of full light. I've got my light in here, and I'm going to bring up the candle power just a little bit. I'll try 3000. So they're a good strong circle of light in the scene. Then I'm looking at my lobby lights, and I like how these look, a little better on the pool here. I'll make sure that I check things like my bus stop and my side lights, and see how they look in a render. Again, I'm going to redraw my region, clicking on the Edit Region button, pulling it over, and trying a quick render. A little extra lift on the street lights should give me a better pool of light out front. Think of it this way. We want to go through and balance out the brightness a bit, making sure that darks are dark and brights are bright, and there's a lot of range between. My street light is looking good. It's got a nice pale look to it, and I've still got the lights on the side of the building. I'll bring up the street light instead by a percentage, checking in the dimming section a percentage for that light. I'll try this at 115%, which should really overcrank it. I'll also pick my side lights on the building here and bring them up as well. Again, they're instanced, so changing one means they all change. In this case, this is a standard max light, so I've got a multiplier here to bring up that light. Here's 65, so it's nice and hot. I'll run my region one more time and see how this looks. That's better. The building is nice and dark with blooms of light on the side. The lobby lighting is there, but not overly bright. And I've got a good pool of light already emerging from the street light here. There's a little more darkness up here in the balconies. I'll test this bus stop by moving that region over, sizing it down, and seeing how this looks. This is better. It's not quite as scorchingly bright as it was, although it is still a nice bright spot. I'll go through the materials here once I get the camera in and see if I need to balance out the way these lights illuminate the windows. But I like how this looks so far. Good light overall, and good darkness between. I'll check any of the other lights and see if they need a little help here and there. For example, I can also look at these up lights on this building. I like the way these are looking, but I'd like them to reach a little further. What I'll do with these, aside from increasing their multiplier to, let's say, 55 so they're a little more powerful, is to play with their attenuation. I'm going to let them start their attenuation at 360, or 30 feet up, and end that attenuation at 960. So they actually go quite a bit farther up the building. They're casting shadow map shadows, so I'll get some good drama going on here. And I'll see how this looks. Again, pulling up that rendered frame, editing the region, moving it over, and running a smaller piece than a full size. This is better already. Instead of this really receding totally into black, I have a little bit of extra drama right here in these upper panels, but some good shadows. So I've got some areas of interest in the way that the shapes form and light. And the shadow maps are looking good all the way through. Now I'm ready to get the cameras in my murky night scene and tell the story of maybe lifting up past the buildings to reveal the city beyond.